Misinformation monger and head honcho at the Public Health Agency of Canada, Theresa Tam, is leaving her post, signaling a desire for new leadership after her pandemic fumblings. Canada's Chief Public Health and leader of psychological operations for Better Health, Dr. Theresa Tam, is set to retire this coming June, bringing an end to her tenure at the helm of the Public Health Agency of Canada, which I may refer to as PHAC. The job posting for Tam's replacement notes that the official job title, Chief Public Health Officer, is supposed to provide leadership, advise government officials, and collaborate internationally to address public health threats, reduce health inequalities, and promote overall well-being. The Chief Public Health Officer is also supposed to serve as the government's primary spokesperson on matters related to public health. Initially appointed to the position in 2017, Tam was responsible for the COVID-19 pandemic response, which has been riddled with missteps and inconsistencies, leading to widespread confusion and a lack of trust in the agency supposed to lead and reassure the country through uncertain and tumultuous times. True leadership, however, involves clear communication, decisive action, and the ability to instill confidence, qualities that have been sorely lacking in Tam's role. During a recent panel discussion on Canada's information environment focused on misinformation, Tam predicts the next pandemic will be harder to redress due to public distrust that she is directly responsible for.
A pandemic, another one will occur, we just don't know when. We're watching a whole bunch of viruses, H5N1 being top of mind at the moment. We don't know what's going to happen next. We're tracking it, etc. I'm concerned that it will be more difficult now than it was at the beginning of 2020 to get the public on board because of the diminishing trust in certain institutions, hopefully not as much for the Public Health Agency, but there is that loss of trust, and that's a very key predictor of whether someone take up protective measures. Two, of course, is new technologies, people's trust in new technologies. The mRNA vaccine, which is an absolute miracle to the public health system and the healthcare system, is being viewed with distrust. And we need to do better in explaining new technologies to people and how science works, how trials are done, how things are discovered in understandable terms so that we can bridge that gap and sort of get that thermometer further up on the trust thermometer. The Edelman and others are tracking all these trusts. I read all their barometers all the time just to see how we can adapt our response.
Appearing blissfully unaware of those suffering debilitating reactions as evidenced by the Vaccine Injury Support Program being overrun, Tam holds on to the view that the novel injections are miracles, but notes they still face mounting distrust. This, even though she acknowledged in 2021 that the full scope of destruction would not be captured until the injections were ruled out to the population at large. Tam also failed to mention that the pharmaceutical products were still in phase 2 and 3 clinical trials at the time, which did not conclude until the middle of February 2023.
Every medication or vaccine can come with rare side effects, which will not be picked up until many millions of people receive the vaccine. The initial clinical trial with tens of thousands will not pick up rare events. So I think the important thing, to emphasize to everyone is that we have systems and checks and balances in place. But please do remember that over the course of the administration of the vaccine to many millions of people in the world, if there should be any new signals, we will be communicating that after a thorough examination. But science will continue to evolve in this space.
Tam's leadership has been marked by the production of COVID-19 propaganda videos, exploiting festive and joyful occasions like Christmas since 2020, including targeted propaganda videos aimed at children and youth, all at the expense of Canadian taxpayers.
Hi kids, just popping in with an update to let you know everything is shaping up nicely for Christmas Eve. Santa, Mrs. Claus, and all the eligible elves have had their booster shots. Santa is well kitted out in the best layers of protection. His mask is well fitted and the sleigh is naturally ventilated. So I am happy to report that Santa has the all clear to take off.
The abuse and use of taxpayer dollars to manipulate them into compliance was further reinforced with multi-millions pouring from the Liberals into social media campaigns aimed at various demographics to uphold public health messaging around the novel biological products known as the COVID-19 vaccines.
Help protect your child. Book their appointment at canada.ca/COVID-vaccine. A message from the Government of Canada.
It's never too early to encourage our kids to look out for their neighbors and look out for each other. And the best thing we can do through that is making sure that everyone who possibly can gets vaccinated.
People in Canada vaccinated with their first and second doses. The more we can vax to the max, the better for back to school.
Every single vaccine available in Canada has been approved by Health Canada as being both safe and effective.
Starts with one small action, but even the smallest action can create a ripple. If enough of us do our part by getting vaccinated, that ripple can become a wave. We can all help get there by getting vaccinated. A message from the Government of Canada.
Vaccination against COVID-19 can help kids get back to being kids. Help protect your child and those around them. Book vaccination appointments for eligible children in your family.
From the outset of the pandemic, Tam initially downplayed risks, claiming that COVID-19 posed little threat, initially dismissing human-to-human transmission and inferring that border closures were not only unnecessary, but rooted in racism. Her advice on masks and social distancing has also been riddled with contradictions and really bizarre messaging, like the meddling in the private lives of Canadians, telling them to wear a mask during intercourse, which led to the ridiculous advice out of British Columbia to use glory holes. Remember when the experts told us that any old dried up baby wipe or paper towel could serve as a superior third layer filtering device for measly 2-layer cloth masks? That sounds super sciencey, right? And those social distancing guidelines like the stay 6 feet apart rule, they were based on conjecture, not scientific rigor. Same as the science behind most public health measures seen throughout the COVID-19 response. As the pandemic continued, public health measures like lockdowns and restrictions led to unprecedented destruction of small businesses, disruptions in children's development and education, and significant social division. Vaccine mandates contributed to a climate of medical apartheid, while those questioning official narratives were vilified as anti-science. The social fabric implications, coupled with the lack of consistent guidance, have left Canadians questioning the competence of health leadership and those in roles like Tam's. Tam's retirement comes at a pivotal moment. Under her leadership, the Public Health Agency failed to effectively address public health threats. Her agency spent more time at the beginning of the pandemic gathering medical supplies to send to China than addressing the tons of expired PPE sitting in our warehouses, leaving private companies like Home Depot to swoop in and save the day. Overall, the agency's role in managing the COVID-19 crisis has been widely criticized, although never formally investigated. Canadians want transparency, accountability, and a return to evidence-based decision-making in public health leadership. The question remains, will Tam's successor bring the change needed to restore public trust and lead the country with a more logical, science-driven approach to health that respects our chartered rights and our autonomy? Or will they continue to interfere in the lives of Canadians based on conjecture? For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. For years, Canadians have struggled under a system where inefficiency and corporate interests dictate public policy, especially in healthcare. Bureaucratic bloat and the influence of Big Pharma have shaped decisions that should focus on the people's needs, not their interests. If you agree the change is needed, head on over to /thebureaucracy.com and put your name to the petition there. That's /thebureaucracy.com.